Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. James here as ever for today's important video all about how to study and of course pass two ACCA exams at the same time in the same sitting. Now in this video I'm going to be taking you through my 4 top tips that I'd be implementing if I was in your position with two ACCA exams again. What did I learn from my experiences and then what can I share with you today? If this is the first time you've ever clicked on one of my videos, my name is James. I'm an ACCA qualified member from the UK, and on my channel I help out ACCA students, accounting professionals, wherever you may be around the world, sharing my insights and experience that could help you pass that next exam or could help you in your career from my experience, as I said. So if that's of interest to you, make sure you subscribe and hit the button below so you don't miss out on any of my uploads in the future, because all my videos are dedicated to my lovely subscribers out there. And of course, today is no different. And as you can see from my lovely editing skills, down here, and we have Fatima. Thank you so much for your lovely comment. I mean, on here, no words, James, are sufficient to explain how much your videos have helped. Thank you so much. I mean, Fatima, you are more than welcome and plenty more to come. So if you'd like to actually request any videos, make sure you leave me a comment at the bottom like Fatima, because as per today's video we've got, and could you please tell me some tips for being consistent in managing 2 papers at the same time? Well, Fatima, do not worry yourself. I've got you covered, my friend, because I'm going to take you through those 4 key tips, as I said, running you through my insights from my experience, because I've done 2 ACCA exam papers at the same time before. So if you find the tips helpful as we go through, be sure to give it a massive like and thumbs up on the video below. I really appreciate the support. It's been incredible as well, so thank you so much as well. So make sure you hit that like button below so that more people can see the videos. So without any further ado, make sure you get comfy, pen and paper. We've got 4 key areas, as I said. If you've got any questions as we go through the video, feel free to leave me a comment at the bottom. I answer them all, and it's all designed to help you out. But we've got to get started, haven't we? I mean, where to even begin? If you're sat there now thinking, James, I've got 2 ACCA exams coming up, where do we even begin? Well, the first key tip for your pen and paper, Fatima, is first of all to set out your study plan. Okay, so this is really key, especially when you've got 2 exams. 1 ACCA exam is hard enough, but let me walk and talk you through how I would go about this to be working effectively and how we can actually shape it specifically to your needs as well, because every ACCA student is going to be different. So firstly, you've got to actually ask yourself, when is your available time to study around your specific actual commitments on this? And you think, oh, that should be quite simple, James, but you'd be very surprised, because everyone's different. Everyone's in different scenarios. So it could be family, it could be children, work. I mean, some people work and study, some people study full time, just general leisure and general life as well. So everything from going shopping to, if you like, playing football or whatever it may be. For me, if I had from my experience on there, this is just one of the actual key things about, say, I used to actually have to work full time, and then I'd be studying after work or before work, and then I'd also be going to classes sometimes on the weekends. So for me on there, from my experience, it was a case of, well, I've got to start blocking out when I'm actually going to be at work. Then if I have to go travel on the weekends to go studying, okay, that's more time blocked off. Then if I've got evening classes, or could I actually fit some studying in the morning, all these sort of things sort of linked in together, and you're going, oh my word, if I don't plan this out, it can be so easy for you to actually just overlook it, and you sort of dilly-dally away and you procrastinate and you don't get it done, and you look back and go, where did that week go? So first of all, I always like to refer back to the work calendar, as I said, to make sure I'm blocking out the time when I need to be in the office, obviously commuting as well. And then this is where you actually organise your day and work out where you are actually free based on your other commitments. This is where you actually need to start actually saying to yourself, well, how many days have I got before I've got to sit the first exam? What other things, other commitments have I got? As I said, it could be weddings, whatever. But personally for me, I like milestones and holding myself accountable, and to other people, whether that's colleagues or family members, partners, whatever it is. So completing all the study text, this is one of the little nuggets that I always used to have to my psychological advantage, was to say a month before the actual exam, I want to have all of the study text done on there. So I'm actually planning this out, I'm going through then, working back on the dates, and psychologically, as I said, if I go, right, I've got a month before the exam, I'm now going to be getting on to question practice, going through past papers, and then really adding value there. And if I don't know anything about the actual question that I'm going on to, well, cool, I can come back and look at that study text. And this is where I actually find that actually getting yourself a wall calendar planner, they're called, so it shows all the days for all the years, and what I've done for you is in the description below I've put a link so you can access it. It's the same one that I had, and you can write on there what you're actually doing each day, and then you can go check it off to say, look, this is what I said I was going to do, and this is what I actually did. It's a really good way of holding you accountable, and if you put it up in your office or at home, lots of people see it and you go, what's all this on here? And then you have to explain it to them, and then you're being held accountable. They go, oh, you've got an exam coming up. Let me know how it goes. So honestly, it's, when you write it down, pen and paper, this makes a world of difference. It's worth mentioning here that doing 2 exams will actually, it will take a burden on your life as well. Let's get that out there so we're crystal clear. And there will be sacrifices that need to be made. And there will be days that you just look at yourself and go, all I've done today is go to work and study, eat, sleep, have a drink, and then go to bed. So you're just kind of going, oh my word. So this is where it's really getting that balance, which we're going to be coming on later into the video. So make sure you hang around for that. But just as another thing, just to get into your life, just try and stay positive. And by having that sort of set plan out on a week-by-week basis, you're trying your best to actually maximise your time as effectively as possible to help you pass. So actually putting it in your work calendar to say, look, this morning I'm going to study, and actually blocking out the time. You visually see it and you're going to hold yourself accountable. You'll be up before the alarm, and you actually say to yourself, well, what can I work around my life so that I still have my life commitments on there and I'm still enjoying myself doing the things that I want to do. So that the other key thing to get written down here is that, well, you're still doing your work, you're still having your life, you're still doing all the other things that you want to do, so that when it comes to studying, you're there, you're more focused, and you're saying to yourself, look, this is a balance, this is what I've got to put myself through, and it will be worth it in the end. So that is tip number 1 on there, and that is set out your study plan. Do it for the week, then look at the full total amount of period before you're actually sitting the exam. Try to set yourself some milestones as we go through, celebrate them as well, have a beer, have a wine, whatever it may be. And this is where you start to actually say to yourself psychologically, I feel like I'm making progress and I'm getting close to my target of passing 2 at the same time. Well, that kindly and nicely leads us on to tip number 2 now, as to work smarter and not harder. Really, really important in this. So for your study approach, you have to break up the actual exams, because if you've got 2 exams, that is a lot of content, and I like to keep it simple on there. So this is going to depend if you're a full-time student or if you're actually working and studying, but in essence, if you've got a free Saturday or Sunday, or you've just got a free day in general, in the morning to sort of early afternoon on that, I'd work on 1 exam, then I'd have some food, go for a walk, move about on there, and then for the afternoon to the evening, I'd move on to another, splitting it up so that my brain has full clarity that maybe I'm going from financial reporting in the morning to audit and assurance in the evening on there. Or if you are at work, and this is where from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, whatever it is, that maybe that one evening after work you do 1 exam on 1 particular day, and then the next day after that move on to another, so that you're not getting, you can get bogged down by just going through the same things of just, more financial management. And when you actually mix it up, it can help you out, just to give you that little boost of energy to keep you going. But this is the key thing to get down. You have to ask yourself this question listening to this video, but when you are most productive. So you've got to pick the time for studying that suits you. And again, balancing it around those other commitments that we talked about earlier. So for example on there, me personally, I have the most energy in the morning, and then it sort of tapers off and it gets lesser and lesser in the afternoon. So unless I have an afternoon sort of spurt and ways of getting that, so you have a boost of energy on there. If you go do some exercise or something like a cold shower, go for a walk, those are the little things that maybe after that then you go, right, I'm feeling more energetic now for a second boost in the afternoon. So Monday to Friday with work commitments now, so I'm assuming that maybe you're working 9 to 5 and then you've got to have the studying commitments on top of that. Then you've got to say, well, can I do some studying actually before work? So this is getting the actual alarm set. And as well, what you'll find is you've got to find out where you best study as well. So is there a place actually in your house where when you go and sit at that desk, at that particular seat, I study there? Or if you're going into the office, and I used to do this as well, go into the office even earlier than you would originally do, and then spend that time before you start your job and do maybe an hour of studying in your quiet office, something on those lines, because it's a working environment versus if it's your home, then it's more of a sort of leisurely environment on there. So you're more likely to be focused. And then if I'm tired after work, I've got to think of something more interactive and engaging to actually study. So one, that means I'm more encouraged to actually do it. And then secondly, you accept that you go, yes, I am tired. I've been looking at the screen all day. I've been thinking about, what about this budget? And then I'm having to do this Excel spreadsheet, and then I've had to liaise with how many meetings or whatever. So you are going to be knackered on it. This is where you've got to be careful with how much caffeine you're having. And I personally wouldn't have any caffeine after work because otherwise you just won't sleep effectively. But finding a way to actually get yourself up and going for it and doing a bit more engaging, maybe walking and talking through your notes, something on those lines, or if you can have a FaceTime with a study buddy, something on those lines. But for me, the usual things of reading, the actual study text, past papers, exam questions, always needed to have full focus as I went through to make sure I understood the content and was giving those past papers my best attempt possible. They'd be done first thing in the morning, at the weekends, and even before work as well. Yes, they'd also be done after work occasionally, but I'd really have to focus myself down. And I'll be honest with you, if I did them after work, I'd have to go down to somewhere like the public library or somewhere that was a real focused working environment, and I'd put in my headphones to give myself some motivational music. But you can let me know what you think of what I listen to in my my study playlist. But just something like that I have a trade-off to say, yes, I'm going to play some music on here. I know that isn't how it's going to be in the exam, but I'm still going to get the question done, which is the key thing. As we talked about before, you need to hold yourself accountable, and this is where the actual study plan we talked about earlier comes into it. You know, and you will know for your week on there, when you have availability to study, so block out that time if it's after work or before work, whatever it is. But what I would recommend for you is that you actually write down what you want to achieve on a piece of paper for that particular day. So if you've got a full Saturday, or maybe if it's just an evening, just actually write it down on a piece of paper. Don't put it on your phone. We don't want any distractions. This is where it allows you to really focus and home in. You've got to make sure it's achievable on there, and so it's not demotivating, but you just want to look at that piece of paper, written down, you've done it, and you're saying, look, I've got 2 hours, and I've got these 3 bullet points on here. And as you go through each one in the time allocated, just start to tick them off, and you'll start to actually build that momentum, and you'll get so much more done as well. Plus, if it's on your wall calendar planner, even better on there as well. Other techniques that helped me, as we said, was also when we were referring to the study text on there. So actually ticking off the numbers at the start of the contents page. I never sold any books online or anything like that. By actually highlighting and crossing them out, saying I've covered that chapter, it was far more motivating for me. And you make it into more of an actual game to actually show your progress. And so that when I went to look at the book the next time, I'd see all this highlighting go on and say, right, today I'm doing chapter 7, and I'm going to cross it out and tick it off, and then that's another one in the bank. Also, actually printing out a list of all the past papers, putting them actually on a wall so you can visually see it on a day-to-day basis, that when you're coming in from work and you're going, I know if I don't actually do that, what's on the wall, I'm going to go into my exam at a disadvantage. And then when you start to tick them off as well, you actually build that momentum, and trust me, it really helps, especially those days, because I've been there just like you, where you come in from work, you just want to sit down and just chill and put the TV on and watch the football, Netflix, whatever it is. Don't fall into it. Just look at that on there and say, right, can you just give me half an hour, 45 minutes? Let's tick one off. It's going to be good for me. And then this is where it will really help you to show how far you've actually come and how your knowledge is being compounded day by day, week by week, month by month. So that the day before the exam, if you look at that sheet of paper and you've ticked them all off, you just go to yourself, I'm in a good position going into this exam. So that's really tip number 2 on there. I would say work smarter, not harder, makes such a difference for you as well. And what will happen is you'll become more effective with your time. You'll have more productive sessions, and then you'll also start to squeeze in maybe a 15-20 minute session, which you hear me say it now and you go, 15-20 minutes, James, it's not that much. Well, I can tell you now, if you're doing 4 or 5 of those little sessions where maybe you've got a break at work and you're fully focused, they compound away, and that little nugget of information could help you out significantly. But now, coming away from the actual studying itself, taking on 2 exams is really, really tough. So tip number 3 now is keep a work-life study balance. And this is really important, as I struggled with this a lot, especially when I did the 2 exams and when I got onto the strategic and option papers. And to be honest with you, I don't think it's talked about enough in the actual accountancy world. So for me, I really fell into the trap of not exercising enough. I'm going to put it down as eating convenient food down on there and not actually hydrating enough, which really affects your concentration and links into your sleep. So all these little variables that really add up, because it impacted on me putting on a lot of weight. My quality of sleep really suffered on there. I felt tired and lethargic at work and at weekends, and it just really just spiraled and it really took over my life. I was sort of looking in the mirror Monday morning and going, oh my gosh, I just feel super knackered right now. And it's just all in that balance, and getting that balance is so crucial sometimes. And you've got to have a look at that accountability mirror, as I call it, as to, are you really getting the right balance? And you're not just falling into the trap, which I did, as to, and I'm sure people watching this are in that situation now where you think, I feel like I'm just working all the time, Monday to Friday, and then studying as well. So what would I actually recommend to help you out the way I went wrong that could help you go positively forward? So first of all, from a food perspective, I'd recommend you actually try and pre-make actual batches of healthy meals on there, and then fruit and the other sort of healthy study snacks options versus biscuits and all that sort of stuff. You know, obviously you can treat yourself to maybe one, but this isn't a food review kind of video. But the thing is, when you just get into the habit of eating meal deals and all this sort of rubbish, and you think, oh, I'm just having it one day, it's okay, and it'll even itself out. But day after day after day after day, it just builds up on there. And whatever's in your world on here, but just avoid the usual suspects of unhealthy options, because, as I said, it doesn't make you feel good about yourself as well. Whereas if you're having good nutritious food with loads of vitamins, minerals, all that sort of jazz, it's only going to help you concentrate and be more effective in your studying and looking after yourself, to be honest on there. However, we actually have to put this into perspective now, because I'm a real person with, real life things that happen on there, and actually rewarding yourself for hitting targets and milestones that we talked about earlier with all the study text done a month before the exam is really key for any student, just to keep motivated. So by having those little milestones, or saying at the end of this weekend of studying, I will have achieved this, and this, well, yeah, go and reward yourself with a takeaway, beer, glass of wine, whatever. I'm a massive advocate for that, because it's your sort of, I feel like I've earned it. That's the key thing, but obviously in moderation, should we say, on there. But other good sort of tips and tricks to actually help you out was more sort of going into sort of short bursts with maximum concentration and putting your phone away. I mean, mine isn't even in the office at the moment. It's downstairs. It doesn't have any notifications on there. So if you do follow me on Instagram, I do get back to you. It's all right. Don't worry. I just need to focus on this. This is the important stuff. And then when you get into those short bursts, maximum concentration sessions, maybe for example doing a 20 marker past paper question done in 36 minutes, so you got 1.8 minutes per mark on there. It really helps to actually focus you in. Then when you actually completed that task, I'd highly recommend you just leave your study area. If it's an office like this, then actually leave it, go for a walk, go outside, quick snack, healthy snack, as we said, and then maybe listen to some music or something you're actually interested in. And I do get this question quite a lot actually, as to, I always say I go wandering with my headphones in. Well, I use something called Audible on there. I personally use it, and we've got loads of free audiobooks that you can just download on your phone. I'll put the link below to one of the discounts on it, or the proper link that you'd actually need to use on there. Hopefully I'll get you a discount. Don't worry on that. And I highly recommend it. It's so good, and you start to learn different ideas, and there are so many other things about health, fitness, whatever it is on there, and quite a lot of them are actually free. Some of them you do have to pay for, but again, that will be something you're interested in. And I do it. I read a book every month now. It's really good. We did touch on there the actual working environment, like the office here, okay? But you'll have to ask yourself, where is my most effective working environment that works for me on there? And that is where I used to go down to the actual public library on there, or if I'm sat in the office here, the door is shut with the sign on the other side there for nobody to come in and actually interrupt or anything on those lines. So find out where you study best, where there's no distractions. If there is a place at your actual house, fantastic. If there isn't, well, try and work it out, see if there is somewhere local you can go, and then try to mix it in on there. And finally, just don't let it take over your life. I know we've touched on it before, but try to see it as, yes, it is going to be a short-term sacrifice, but you're going to try and balance that as actually the best you can. So you don't want to be turning up to work and studying and feeling like a zombie, because I know the feeling. I was there just looking in the mirror going, oh my word, it feels like I've just not stopped. Even little things about if you're going to the gym or anything on those lines. I used to take some of my books down and sit down at the gym, and they had like a cafe area, and you just do half an hour, 45 minutes, bit of studying beforehand, in my own little world, no one there bothering me, and then going to the gym afterwards, and you still feel like you're being productive. So little things like that, try and work it out in your best situation, no matter what your sort of variables are. So family, kids, whatever it is, commitments, work out what is best for you, and trust me, it will help on there. So that really takes us through our actual tip 3 on there. So actually keep a work-life study balance. So underrated. It's really important. But we're now getting on to tip number 4 now, and this is so important as well, because nobody ever talks about this, but I am. It's important. So first of all, let me set the record straight. This is really important. When I completed 2 ACCA exams at the same time, when I was a student in your position, and I have to be honest on this, every time I did that, I passed one and failed the other. So yes. So when did this actually happen? This was when I did the actual P2 exam. So this is the equivalent to the SBR paper, so Strategic Business Reporting. I did that along with the Advanced Taxation, and that's the P6 exam. And I can hear you telling me through the screen now, you're just like going, why on earth would you do that? I know, why? And to be honest with you, as you know from the channel, I failed Advanced Tax, but we did pass the P2 exam, just on there. I think it's 50 or 51, just to pass. So then, for the next sitting, I did the Advanced Taxation paper with Advanced Audit and Assurance. And I thought, well, I've already done Advanced Tax once. I know most of the stuff on there. I can build it up. It'll be all right. And lo and behold, again, I passed Advanced Taxation and then failed Advanced Audit and Assurance. So we were getting there, but I just went, oh my word, not another one. But again, 2 exams at the same time, passed one, failed the other. So then I had to rebook, and thankfully I passed the Advanced Audit and Assurance exam on the 2nd attempt. But we got there. It was all good. But it's just to put it in perspective that this is why I share it, especially in this video. So my first piece of advice is that if you are planning to do 2 exams, for whatever reason that may be, book the exams and make yourself committed. Don't hold off, as that is where your focus can wander. So the first thing I used to do was, if I was going to do 2 exams, I kind of just left it. You know, you have the early bird pricing and everything like that. Whereas I just didn't make the decision, log online, right, book it right now. And I used to leave it a week, 10 days, something like that. And then my focus just wasn't there. Maybe I might do 1, maybe I might do 2. Just book it straight away. And as well, you don't want to have to pay for the actual higher fees the closer to the exam you get. And as I said, once you actually commit, then your mindset changes and your attitude will change too, to say, look, we've got 2 exams coming up. It's challenging enough to do 1, let alone 2. So we've got to work out that study plan. We've got to work smarter, not harder, as we talked about above. And this is where, no doubt, colleagues, friends, partners will pick up on this and start to hold you accountable. Or they might even start asking, have you booked your exam yet? And you'll go, I'm not sure, am I doing 1 or 2? And that is the indecision, where someone who says, yes, I'm going to do 2, then you start to get that plan in place and you're going to be more effective with your studying, because at the end of the day, if you've got 2, every day is critical for you. So in terms of 2 exams to actually select, I actually have a video on the channel to help you out to decide. I've heavily requested on that. So what I'll do for you is it's up there, as you can see. That's the one you actually want to go to, and I'll link it at the end of this video as well, and in the description, because I'm super duper nice. How about that? But in all honesty, when I did 2 at a time, ACCA actually only had 2 sittings at that point, and now in 2021 they actually have 4. So they used to only have June and December, whereas now they've got March, June, September and December on there. But if I was a student again, and you can check it out from the video, the applied knowledge exams, so that's F1 to F3, business technology, management accounting and financial accounting, these can be taken 2 at a time, along with probably taking the corporate law, so F4 as well. That would be the first 4, 2 at a time. I think you can get away with that on there. And then you get on to the actual applied skills, so from F4 to F9, we've talked about law to do that one first. Then you've got PM, the tax, financial reporting, audit and assurance, financial management on there. Now, they can be booked for 2 at a time, but it all depends, as we said, how much actual time you have to prepare, what's your current situation. I mean, from the way that the results get given now after the 4 exams, to then I think it's about 7 weeks, and they're going to myself, 7 weeks to do 2 exams? I mean, even if you're full-time studying, that is a lot of cramming and a lot of pressure putting on yourself. I would just be doing 1, to be fair. Personally, I would say you need at least 3 months to prepare if you're doing 2 exams at the same time. Or maybe if you fail one of the exams, you start another in the 7 weeks and you retake the failed one. Maybe, but it all depends on your situation, possibly on that. But just to be clear and set the record straight on here, when it comes to the strategic and option papers, just do 1 at a time. If it was me again, just do 1 at a time. There's so much content. You've got so much to actually digest in your mind. And that is a real key thing on there. Yes, definitely so. I'm just thinking back to the point I mentioned there about, if I fail 1 exam I got in the reset, and then I had the 7 weeks, would I'd definitely do the reset exam again, but would I do another one? Possibly. It all depends. You'd have to really say to yourself, do I believe I can do it on there, or would I really focus my efforts on the 1? All depends on your sort of situation. And just to have it on record as well, just for clarity, I wouldn't even consider doing 3 at a time, unless you had a circumstance, hypothetically, that it meant that, say you got cut off by the 7-year rule or the 10-year rule on there. So the 7-year rules, when you're doing the strategic papers, you've got 7 years to pass it. And then the 10-year rules, from when you first sat your first exam, you've got 10 years to complete all the exams on there. But if that applied to you, oh my word, best of luck, and check out every single video on the channel to help you out, because if you've got 3 or more exams you need to pass in the last sitting, whatever it may be, you need all the support you can get, because that will be just, oh my word, super duper tough. But these are the fundamental things that I'd be thinking if I was in your shoes, especially for tip number 4 on there, for believe that you will pass both exams, because the final thing to mention is you've probably only ever done 1 exam before on there, so it is a bit of a jump up as well. So you really want to set your sights set your stall out to actually get that plan in place, really believe you can pass them, and then put the plan into action. That is one of the key things on there. So I hope you've got plenty of notes as we've gone through there. If you have enjoyed the video as well, as we've been going through, make sure you give it a massive like, as we said at the start. I really appreciate all the support, so thank you so much. And if you want to keep in touch with all of my other videos on the channel and new releases, just hit the subscribe button at the bottom so you get access to all my free resources and videos. And if you have any actual requests for more videos or anything on those lines, you know what to do. Just leave me a comment at the bottom. I answer them all, more than happy to help. And if you've got any other ACCA study buddies who you know this video will help, make sure you share it with them, because it could be the difference in them just getting that little extra few marks to pass their exam, and could be all the difference, if I'm honest, on there. So the final things I can say is I'd just like to wish you all the best of luck in your accounting journey, no matter what exam you're doing, what level you're at. I hope the new videos help you along with all of my experience. What I've done for you as a final treat is, as I touched on earlier, I'm going to leave you a couple of videos at the end here. If you click one of them, they are definitely going to help, and I'll see you on the other side for that video. It could be that difference in those little extra marks to get you the 50+. But as always on that bombshell, I'll see you next time. Cheers.